I just want to thank you for having me and thank the Happy Entrepreneur Network and the audience for tuning in to this session with me.
Well, I like it. I didn't even say anything. You jumped in there. That was just great. See, we're going to have great harmony already. I'm already love that. First time she's like, Shay, I'm ready to rock and roll. You know,
ready.
I love for what you're doing. I love being in the green room because this is where the magic happens, by the way. Although there's no green over there. I've got a little bit of green going on over here. But, you know, the world's going to get your bio. We're going to send that out. And I'm not going to read it or we'll be here all day.
Yeah.
But can you take a moment and tell folks who is Dr. Wendy Labat and what are you up to these days?
Okay, well, I'm Dr. Wendy Labat, also known as the Financial Healer, and I'm an entrepreneur, a financial strategist, soon to be author, and just out here trying to fulfill my crusade to help people take control of their finances. So that's what I'm out here doing, and it's been pretty good.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Now, you know, not to belabor, but these are very uncertain times. Mm-hmm. And I've been asking a number of folks the same question. I hope you don't mind me asking you this because you're talking about money, you're talking about finances. What are you sharing with, I'll say it like this, those folks who have been impacted, okay? And life's kind of smacked them in the face right now because of what's going on. And so what message are you having with those type of clients?
Well, basically, it's the same message I've had all along. And those that listen are doing okay. But, you know, they are hurting, they are struggling, but they don't have to. I talk about, you know, there's 6 obstacles to winning the money game. And the first one is mindset and lack of knowledge. So folks that know better, do better. So that's, you know, I tell them that's the key thing. And even folks that are doing well still have to change their mindset based on the times we're in now. You know, it's not going to be the same forever. You have to pivot where, you know, you need to pivot. So that's what I tell folks, just, you know, start with the mindset and then we can work from there.
When you say start with the mindset, I know like I said, we're behind the scenes, and I love being behind the scenes. This is where the magic really takes place. When you talk about start with the mindset, can you kind of paint a picture for us, the type of mindset that they should have, so we kind of have a little bit of understanding of that, please?
Okay. When I started, I'm writing a book, and I, you know, thought my market was going to be entrepreneurs. So I started talking, you know, to not just entrepreneurs, but mainly entrepreneurs. And I asked them, I said, well, how would you feel about, you know, budgeting, which is a dirty word, or, you know, strategic financial planning? It's like, they all answered, well, I just need more money. You know, it's like, okay, you need more money, but, you know, I know my expenses. I know how much I make, but they don't factor in the spending, you know, and that's what kills the budget is the spending. So you got to get a mindset of, you know, your revenue or income is not just one stream. You got to have multiple streams. And even though people have multiple streams, they don't acknowledge that. They don't recognize it. They kind of leave money on the table. And then, you know, the expenses, they don't realize expense is different from debt, you know, so you got to understand that. And like I said, there's some terminology and, you know, strategies that have to be taken into consideration. And people just don't really have a strategy when it comes to money. They think I make it, I spend it, or I'm okay with where I am. And I find the people that make the most money are the ones that handle it, you know, the worst.
Ouch! But, I'm sorry.
That's okay. You know, that's okay.
Well, and, the good news is I love
the doctor gets sick every now and then herself. So I, you know, I don't blame folks, but I just have to pull them in. I have to rein them in, you know, so that's the key thing that I tell everybody, but especially folks that are panicking about the situation, you know, God always makes a way. So, you know, don't do all you can do. I'm not saying sit on your butt and don't do anything. I'm saying do all you can do and just trust that, you know, the provisions will come.
Trust and the provisions will come. With that being said, we're going to kick off. We've got a show. I can't wait to talk about take control over our finances. It's one of those subjects that even I cringe at. I might be the only one that's cringing, by the way. But Dr. Wendy agreed that she's going to be kind to us, but she'll be very truthful, and she's going to give us the cure that's going to help us. And this is our time. So with that being said, we got a show. Hey, what's going on, Sonata? See you out there. Tanisha, thanks for joining. Carol, it's always a pleasure. Wendy, Kim, Aaron, all of you who are joining on. We're going to get going in 5. This is the only thing I get to do. 4, 3, 2, 1. It's going to be showtime. The financial cure is in the house, which I can't wait.
I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there. And they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower, our mission is to inspire, and our mission is to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that huge vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And I want to imagine for a moment that you have 3 visions that I love to share. You have a vision for yourself and the type of car you want to drive, the home you want to live in, those fancy restaurants that serve organic food. You want to go there, right? It takes resources, which means it takes revenue. And then some of you have a vision number 2. You have a vision for your loved ones, the ones you care the most about, the ones that you want to send to a private school, if you would, the ones you want to make sure you write a check for and their health care is taken care of. Or some of you are writing checks right now for someone else's mortgage because they're dependent on you. That means it takes resources, means it takes revenue. And then the third vision I believe you have is you have a vision for the people you, not me, but you were called to serve. And imagine you got this huge vision right now and you're like, I don't know, you're like Noah in the Bible, whether you believe in church or not, doesn't really matter. I happen to be a believer. But imagine you're Noah and you show up and you're ready like you are. You're ready right now. You got your purpose, got your passion, and then there's a knock. Excuse me, Noah, sorry to bother you, but there is no hammer in the house. No hammer? No worries. We're going to still do this thing. What's going on? Noah, excuse me, it's me again. Sorry about that. There are no nails either. No hammer and no nails. No hammer, no nails. Rule number 1, don't panic. We got this thing. No, sorry. Last time, they told me this last time. There is no wood, and there are no people to put the boat together. No team. Good luck on this vision. Good luck on this mission. And so that's you. The only thing you're lacking right now is resources. That means there's no money there to do the things you want to do. But that can all change because the financial cure woman is in the house herself, Dr. Wendy Labat, and she's here to bring the resources you need. What's going on, Dr. Wendy Labat? How are you?
I'm doing great, Shay, and I want to thank you and the Happy Entrepreneur Network for inviting me here and the audience for tuning in to this version or this episode. And I'm just happy to be here.
Well, it's an honor and a privilege, a treat and a treasure to have you here. Thank you so much. Look, I got to address the elephant in the room, okay? It's like this big green mug here. We got to address the elephant in the room. Another money conversation. I mean, gee, Moniz. Talk about why talking about money is more important now than at any time probably in our lives.
Well, I would say it's more important now because, you know, the rule and the game has changed. You know, the environment has changed and people have, you know, failed to recognize that, you know, we're in a global economy and now you see that. But like I said, people are, you know, beginning to talk about money because they're having, you know, situations that require them to pivot and, you know, based on finances. They're not in the same position today that they were in December 2019.
Love it. You know, let me just ask the question if I can. What's going on, Charles Oliver? Thanks for joining. Dwayne Reynolds, my man, is in the house. Tanisha April Dore Moody. What a name. Monday is on here. By this is already fire, by the way. My question to you is, What are your top tips? Let me just get right to the bottom line. This is for Shay Brown. Don't worry about all the other people. What are your top tips, if you can, that we can do to protect ourselves from financial ruin?
Okay, the main one is to protect your health, protect your life, protect your assets. People are so quick to, protect their cell phone or their car and don't have insurance or, protection for their life or health. And your health is your wealth. So that's, the main thing. And also it's to, understand how money works. People don't really understand the process and they make decisions without being fully informed. So, and then they depend on other people to tell them. But even if you do, you still have to know what they're supposed to be telling you. So that way you can make an informed decision based on your situation, because their motives may be different from what your motives are. They'll tell you to do something based on maybe their personal gain versus you getting to, where you want to be.
What do you say to the person, and that person used to be Shay Brown, by the way. Again, I don't make it too personal, but these guys can eavesdrop on our conversation that says, man, if I just had more money, I would save more. Like, just give me more money and things would be just fine. And I know that's the entrepreneur's credo sometimes. So what do you say to clients that just say that? Like, I just need more money. That's all I need and things are going to be just fine.
Well, it's just like a lot of the, celebrities and athletes. They got plenty of money, but then they end up broke in a year or two. The key is you have to know how money works. You have to be able to understand how the pieces, go together. What affects, what? Your income. It's not just one source. You got to have multiple sources. And like Warren Buffett says, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. And you have to understand how to control your finances. Before the economic crisis, 60% of people were, living from paycheck to paycheck. And 80% of them were spending over $500 a month on non-essential items. So if you take that $500 a month, you can build your cash reserves, you can get proper protection, you can pay down debt. There's a number of things you can do, but you have to, like I said, be disciplined about it. You have to understand what impacts what.
Now, you mentioned non-essentials. Somebody might not know what non-essentials are. You say, hey, they're spending $500 on non-essentials. Do you mind slowing down and then we'll speed up?
Okay.
Kind of define what are non-essentials and how they impact the bottom line.
Okay, non-essentials are like going and spending $200 on some gym shoes when you got a brand new pair in your closet. And it's, going out, and I'm not saying don't treat yourself.
This conversation is really hurting over here.
To a fancy restaurant or spending. I have one client that when I gave him the spending challenge, he discovered him and his wife are spending $800 a month eating out. Now, $800 a month could be somebody's rent or car note. So those are non-essentials because you don't have to have them. Anything that you don't have, which I call a want, is something that's non-essential. Now, I'm not saying don't treat yourself on occasions, but don't make that, I had some clients that, spending, $200 or $300 on weed. Now, I'm not against weed. Now, don't get me wrong. But, yet they can't pay their light bill. So it's like, come on now. You got to get your priorities together. And non-essentials are things that you don't have to have. It's things that you may want, but you don't have to have them. And I just posted something on Facebook the other day. It said discipline is choosing what you want most over choosing what you want now. So that's, a good thing to keep in mind. That's a good way of thinking. Choose what you want most. What's your ultimate goal? Where do you want to be next week, next month, next year versus where you want to be right now? I used to be, especially when you're younger, you want it right then, right now. Like they said, a New York minute. You want a New York minute. But now, things are tight. And if they aren't tight for you, that's okay. But they could be tight or they might be tight. So just because, things are going well doesn't mean you need to go back and just, start getting those non-essential items.
Mm-hmm. What led you down this journey, if I could say that, to becoming the financial expert that you are today? Like, how did you get there? Give us a little bit of your backstory, if you don't mind.
Okay, well, my backstory started 36 years ago, over 36 years ago. I started a business with no business experience and limited financial resources. And it was a time where there was no internet, no social media. Having a desktop computer was a luxury, even for a small business. And then, long distance calls cost extra. And the only thing you do with a cell phone at that time, they were just coming out, but the only thing you could do was make an expensive phone call. And I started, with a corporate clientele. So back then, you had to have the facade. You had to have the brick and mortar, the employees, the inventory, and all the overhead that goes with it. And, you had to project that image, or else they would think you were a mom and pop operation and couldn't, handle the big contracts. And I wanted the big contracts. So it got to a point where, like I said, I looked good on the outside, I had the image and everything, but behind the scenes, I was struggling because I wasn't getting the level of business I needed to keep that facade up. So I ended up, learning how to be strategic, think outside the box, how to leverage, for things that I couldn't afford to pay money for, but leverage, with other, like a barter system. And then eventually I learned how to, take control of my finances and make my money work for me. So starting in, fast forward to 2014, when the Affordable Care Act was enacted, there was a mandate that employers had to provide health insurance for their employees, and everybody was mandated to have coverage. So I expanded my business to include insurance and financial services. So I didn't want to be a hypocrite. So I bought all these products that I was trying to sell my clients. And I figured if I'm going to sell it to them, I need to have it for me and my family. So fast forward to 2017, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And, my treatment required chemotherapy every 3 weeks for a year at a cost of $67,000 every 3 weeks for those infusions. And then I had to have 5 surgeries. I had MRIs, CAT scans, PET scans, mammogram, everything, every gram, ultrasound, everything you can have. And those medical bills were almost $300,000 in addition to the $67,000 every 3 week chemo bill. And, that could have ruined me financially. But because I practiced what I preached, all my medical bills were paid. I ended up having supplemental coverage that brought me a significant tax-free income that allowed me to focus on my recovery, not have to worry about, my personal or business finances. And I call it the Financial Cures. So that's how I came up with this company's name, the Financial Cures. And I was okay with, being where I was. I'm healed, cancer free, money's okay. But, God said, no, it's time for you to go on this crusade and empower other people, not only to just take control of their finances, but get the proper protection to prevent financial ruin, build a financial legacy, and create generational wealth. Because, I've contributed to too many people's funerals over the years because they didn't have proper protection. The family ended up not only not being able to bury them, but had mounds of medical bills and things that were left behind. So, that's my thing now. That's how I became it, because I practice everything I teach my clients. I've done and been through myself. So, I know firsthand that it works.
Well, thank you so much for being transparent. Thank you for being so open. We appreciate you sharing a little bit of your backstory with us. Is the average salary, is that what's causing everyone to really find themselves to struggle financially?
Well, yes and no. And like I said, people seem to live above their means, whether they're making an hourly wage or, 6-figure salary. You have to, like I say, have that mindset. You have to have the discipline. You have to understand what impacts what. The entrepreneurs that I interviewed during, my beta were saying, I need more money. But, and I said, well, what do you think about budgeting? How are you doing? Oh, I know how to budget. I know how much I make. I know how much my expenses are. but they never factored in how much they actually spend. And so, oh, that's a business expense, but you have to think differently. I mean, there are ways of thinking, there's strategies based on the circumstances that and the the destination you're trying to get to. What may work for this destination, that strategy may not work for the other one. So, you have to understand how money works.
Understand how money works. We're talking to the one and only Dr. Wendy Labat, who's just doing a fantastic job. We certainly appreciate that. What steps would you recommend to someone in order to optimize their finances?
Well, first, you have to, like I said, get that mindset right, mm-hmm. Get that discipline right, and you have to diagnose your financial health. You have to know where you are right now. You have to know, and I mean a realistic picture, not just, oh, I think I got this, or I think I know I'm here. You got to have a realistic picture that's, showing you exactly where you are, all your assets, your liability, your debt, your expenses, your streams of income, and don't leave anything out. Look outside, think outside the box. And then you have to decide where you want to be, where you're trying to get to, and then develop a strategy to get you there. There can be, and leave some wiggle room, because just like now, people that had a strategy back in December, a lot of them are having to change that strategy now based on, what their financial situation is looking like.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Thanks so much. What can you teach us that's really going to have the most impact, I'll say, the most impact on our financial future?
Okay, well, one thing that I live by, and some people, kind of tease me about it, but it's okay because it's working. People go about their daily lives and they're leaving money on the table. They can, join rewards programs, get those credit cards and those, debit cards that are going to give you cash back, or rewards points that can be redeemed to purchase things or pay bills or whatever. I like to share a couple stories. I went to Hawaii a few years ago, and, I wanted to, it was me and my kids and my sister, and I needed to rent a van. So I had enough points on my credit union credit card to buy, to rent that van for a week that would have cost me like $1,100. So, that's $1,100 I was able to use for spending money on the trip. And just recently I went to a training session in Chicago, and I'm a Marriott person. I'm at the titanium level, and being at the titanium level, and I've got points. So I booked my room with the points. But when I checked in, I automatically get an upgrade to a suite because I'm titanium. So that suite would have cost me like almost $500 a night. And with that benefit, I got to eat in the club room where they had smoked salmon, fresh pastries, fresh fruit, bottled water, all that stuff that I would have had to pay probably $30, $40 if I went downstairs to eat that same stuff. So that saved me, that week there saved me like almost like $4,500. And then to get there, I'm a Southwest person. I got Southwest credit cards. I had points. So
got points again.
To get round trip from Atlanta to Chicago, what I think would have cost me, I think it was like $4.98 or something like that. But I paid $5.60 each way using my points. So that whole trip saved me about $5,000 that I, would have had to fork out. So that $5,000 you can do something with.
Oh, you can do something.
So, and just simple things like going to the grocery store. I shop at Kroger, and I get my prescriptions filled there, buy my groceries there. I get the rewards points, and I get up to $1 off per gallon of gas. My car, I got an SUV, and it uses diesel, and that's the most expensive gas you can buy. And they send me coupons where I can get free items based on what I purchase. So those kind of things add up. People say, and I talked to several folks about, well, are you signed up for the rewards? And they're like, no. Well, you ought to be. And just my little banner in the back, this is my recent purchase that, would have cost me $300 from Office Depot. But because I had, rewards, dollars, and because I had a coupon, I ended up spending $144. So these are the kind of things that, will help you, maneuver, especially in times like these. Why spend your money when you don't have to, or why not get the benefits of spending your money?
Yeah, I like that. The benefits of spending your money, those are really good tips, and they're very practical. What I like about is everything you said so far doesn't require some fancy software. You didn't say you have to go use this app. You just simply are saying, look, there's some simple things you can do, but it does add up. I mean, it does add up. Is there a way that we can increase our income without getting a second job?
Yeah, there are a number of ways beside what I just described. My sons kind of taught me this. They've been doing it for a while. They sell stuff on eBay and Amazon, and I'm like, they buy different shoes and stuff that, they get a deal on, and then they turn around and up the price and sell it, to somebody else. And they're making, they stayed out of my pocket doing it. I put it like that. And, they've been doing that for years. Even in high school, they were doing it. So I'm like, okay, but I recommend that because people, if you're not going to give it away, sell it. If things, if you got some good, gently used items, take that picture. You're posting on social media anyway, sign up for eBay, Etsy. They got all kind of Poshmark. They got all kind of, things that you can, platforms you can use for that. And people are making money. You can, maybe not now, but, when the pandemic is over, rent your house out. I've got a client, she was doing the Airbnb thing before, we got into this pandemic situation. And she was making some serious money because she had remarried. Her husband had a nice house that was totally remodeled. So she took her house and, renovated it. And when we had, I think, the Super Bowl and some other big events here, she rented it out, but not even just through the big events. She was doing it on a regular basis. She was a real good Airbnb host. So, there are a lot of ways you can make money without getting a second job.
I love it. I love it. For those folks that are out there that are watching right now, you can go and hit the share button. You can go and hit the share button, or you can hit the watch party button and say, it's time to do what? It's time to get your finances in order. And then put a hashtag Dr. Wendy Labat. Just put, it's time to get your finances in order. Hashtag Dr. Wendy Labat. And it doesn't have to be painful. This is not painful. It might be uncomfortable. You might not want to hear it, but it's not painful. And it's something that's very, very doable. You're on this journey, and this is now your mission. And tell us about the type of clients that you do look to work with and help and support along this journey.
Okay, well, try to get my little niche because I've got a tax preparation business. I do the healthcare, Medicare, and I do business development. And, I want to work with people that want to improve their situation. And I know we need to get down to a specific niche market, but the way things have been going lately, whoever wants help, I'm willing to help them. It's not all about the money for me because I've been blessed, and God's continually blessing me to be a blessing to someone else. But folks, I don't like working with people that, don't want to do the work. I mean, there's some things that you can do for folks that they say, do it yourself, done with you and done for you. But when it comes to your finances, there's only so much I can do for you. I don't, and I can give you the wisdom and, not the wisdom, but the knowledge, and your experience with that knowledge gives you the wisdom. So I like to work with people that just want to see better and do better. I would have to say that in general. Specifically, I want to work with folks that want to, like I said, make their money work for them, work, not work to where they're doing what they want to do. Now, I see a lot of people make a lot of money, and I was in that category at one time, but I hated what I did. I didn't, I'd go to work, make money, but I was miserable. I wasn't fulfilled. And then when I started my business, now I wasn't making any money at first, but I loved what I was doing. And that's what kept me going. And here I am 36 years later, an entrepreneur.
An entrepreneur that's having a good time, that's making a difference in the world. I certainly appreciate what you shared with us so far. We have this mantra, this belief here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show, And the belief is today is your January 1st. It's one of our core beliefs. And for those folks that know what I'm about to do, you can look below the video and you can write those words. Today is my January 1st. And today is my January 1st represents one of those moments. And there's so many of them throughout the day, probably 1,000+ moments, where you can make a decision. And that decision can forever change the trajectory of your life. So you make a decision that you're going to work out, or you're going to sit on the couch and watch Netflix. Binge watch, I think they call it. or you make a decision that you're going to eat hamburgers and French fries with a little salt and pepper. Got to have salt, pepper, and ketchup on your French fries. Or you go to the refrigerator, you open it up, and you reach in, and there's some kale. You have some of that. There's some broccoli. Ooh, that sounds good. You even have some Brussels sprouts, and you pick that out, and you make a different decision. Take a moment, if you would, and I'm wondering, Dr. Wendy, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what does it mean to you? What do you hear?
Well, what I hear, you mean for myself or for others?
For others. How's that?
Okay. And literally it is your January 1st because of the, situation we're in. We're in a recession, a global economic crisis, a global pandemic. So it is our, January 1st. So I'd say that, get your mind right, because if you panic and fret, you're not going to do anything but have a heart attack and stroke and go crazy. But if you get your mind right and realize that this is just a learning experience, because like they said, the only time it's a mistake is if you don't learn from it. This is a time for you to learn, people. And I tell a couple clients have called me, because they were losing their job and losing their health insurance and, kind of crying the blues. I said, look, God tried to get you out of that position years ago, but you wouldn't go out. So now he had to kick you out and shut the door behind you. So now it's time for you to do what you've been wanting to do all these years. So, get your mind right. You don't have to have money to start your business. When I started mine, I didn't have money. I had, I enjoyed what I was doing, and the money started coming because you start looking at, what you need to do to get to the next step. So my thing is get your mind right, get the knowledge you need to do what you want to do. Find out what your purpose is. Like my mentor, Linda Clemens, said, people, they panic. I added pray, then you pause, then you pivot to find your purpose. So that's what I say. I'm stealing her.
No, you got the remix version. You got your own version. You upgraded it. I'm gonna give you the upgraded version. I like that. Yeah. I like that. You probably heard this before, that consistency is the key, and it's a saying that's been said, but sometimes these truisms are really true, right? These sayings are really true. That consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. And having said that, what do people struggle with most? Consistency. So my question to you is, what do you teach and share to your folks in order to be consistent? Because sometimes we're on track and then we're off track, and then we're on track and then we're off track. So what do you teach your clients to do to be consistent?
I teach them, to be consistent. If you can systemize things, if you automate, like your savings or your, bill. I don't automate bill paying. I'm not going to even tell that lie, because I want to know what I'm paying out every month. I don't want to take a chance that somebody just, taking it out of my account. But the key is to be consistent in trying to achieve your goal. Like I said, you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the step, a step at a time. So keep doing that, and then treat yourself every now and then. I'm not saying you have to struggle and, give up everything. If you do something good, if you make it a week without splurging, then, go buy yourself an ice cream or something, a Starbucks or something. But don't make it a habit. You want to break those habits. You want to, just be consistent with the new plan, and then review the plan and modify it where you need to modify it.
I like the part of review the plan and modify where you like to modify, because sometimes it's hard to modify it, right? You try to keep doing it, saying it's going to get it right, but you do have to modify. And what I like about you most is you don't beat folks up. You just keep sharing with them how they can make the change, how they can make the step. How can folks connect with you? Folks that are watching right now, they may have two questions. Number one, what type of clients does Dr. Wendy work with, so they can determine, am I one of them clients, or should I refer to someone else that I know? And then number two, how can they connect with you so they can stay in this conversation over and beyond today?
Okay, well, the kind of client I like to work with is one that, like I said, is going to be receptive. I'm not saying I know everything. Like my husband said, you think you know everything. It's like, no, but I know a lot. So if you want to glean some of my wisdom, and everything I tell my clients is not to, embarrass anybody or hurt anybody. It's because I've been there. I know how it feels to get rejected. I know how it feels to be broke. And fortunately, I don't know how it feels to be homeless or anything to that extreme, but still, I can, if you're willing to hear what I have to say, and I am tactful about how I say things, I don't just slap you in the face with it, but I slap you in the face with it with a tactful way, so you can get my point, but not be offended. So as long as people are willing to do what it takes, and, like I said, change that mindset, work the strategy, and work the plan. And then, like I said, review it on a regular basis. If something's not working, then we need to make some changes. Don't be afraid to make changes. And then people, if they want to contact me, they can go to thefinancialcures.com. I'm on social media, Facebook. I got 3 Facebook pages. I got Wendy Labat, Dr. Wendy Labat, and The Financial Cures. And LinkedIn, I think it's Dr. Wendy Labat. And then Instagram is dr.wendy.labat. So they can reach out to me. And I do post, every morning I get up. My habit and my ritual is to get up. I read my scriptures first because, I believe that God has a path and message for me for the day. And then I check my bank accounts. And then lately, I've been getting on the daggone social media, posting a prayer, though. I do post a prayer because I want folks to, get started and realize that God is going to see you through this. And don't, I'm not a preacher or anything, but I'm a firm believer in God has, makes it a way for you. And even though it may not look good right now, eventually you're going to look back and say, God, I'm glad I went through that, and that's my thing.
I love it. I love it. That's your thing. I love it. Thanks so much for sharing that. That is super amazing. Of all the mentors you've had along this journey of life, and I know you've had so many, what's one lesson you learned from one of your mentors that you can share with us that can help us?
Well, I guess my main mentor was my mother. And I just, did an interview with Authority magazine, and they asked me that question. I have had several mentors, but my mother always said, believe in God and, just be ready to take the detours that he, takes you on, because that's where your blessings are going to be. And even though that's stuck with me over the years, it's like, now that I'm looking back, it's like, she was right, So that's one of the main things. My mom was my main mentor, but I have a business mentor that I got years ago when I first started out, 36 years. I know you said one thing, but this is important from not the spiritual thing, from the real world carnal thing, is that when you go to different events, you have to let everybody know who you are, what you do, and how to get in touch with you. And, because if you go to an event and you don't do anything or connect with people, then, if they need what you have, how are they going to know? How are they going to know what you do? How are they going to know how to get in touch with you? And how are they going to know who you are? So that's been a key. But recently I've added one thing to that, and that's to find out what you can do for others. You want to, like I say, add that on, because, when you sow the seed, you reap a big harvest. So I'm a firm believer in that.
What does success mean to you these days? I know it means different things to different folks. What does it mean to Dr. Wendy Labat?
Well, success means that I'm at peace. I'm happy. I'm confident. I don't worry about what people say about me. My family loves me. My husband, I got a good husband, and he's there for me. And, that's happiness. When you got your family and you got, finances, that's important, but it's not the key thing. Like I said, I had money and I was, dealing with breast cancer. So, money kind of went down the total pole there. But the key thing is happiness and peace. If having that makes me successful right there. If I don't have anything else, if I'm happy and at peace, then I'm good.
Happiness and peace, that means so much. Well, let me first say, Dr. Wendy Labat, thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. You are amazing. You are incredible. You have such a heart to serve and a heart to give. And more importantly, you're making a big difference in the world. It's not one of those topics that we get up and start shouting, if I can say that for lack of a better term, and jump up and down. But it is the truth, and it is the real deal. And you make it a pill that's really easy to swallow. I mean, you really do if you just do these things. And before we close out, I'm just curious, why do you think folks still don't do it? Just based on your experience, I know this is just a top of my mind question, but gosh, you just make it seem so easy, like spend less than you make and watch your money. And yet we struggle, and I'm raising my hand, so I'm not saying I'm not guilty of doing that. Why do you think that is? Just based on just your common knowledge.
Well, just because it's hard, it seems easy, but it's hard to change your mindset. It's hard to change those habits, and it's hard to, turn away from that temptation. If you're online, you're supposed to be paying a bill, and then you run across some shoes and like, oh, and then you want to go buy them. And just because you can buy them doesn't mean you need to buy them. And it's hard because, like I said, it's just like changing habits, just like a smoker trying to quit, or, a heavy person trying to diet, or a person trying to, exercise. It's, changing a habit. It's changing a mindset. Once you decide, then it's easy. It's easier, I should say. But if you don't decide, then you're going to be, at the whim of whatever influences come your way. So, people have to, decide. They have to change that mindset, decide and be disciplined to whatever their decision that they make.
I love it. Well, I want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, keep making a difference, keep your voice out there, because you're changing lives and you're making a difference. I'm so excited you were here on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. I want to turn it over to you to have your final thoughts, your final comments. Again, thank you so much. One thing that we do know is you can always make more money. Right? You can always make more money. I can make more money. You can make more money. Everyone watching can make more money, but none of us, including myself or you, can make more time. So you're giving us the most precious gift that you have, and that is your time. So thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. I turn it over to you to have your final thoughts or final comments.
Well, again, I want to thank you and the Happy Entrepreneur Network and the audience. But, my final comment is don't panic. Trust in God. Know that He's, this has happened for a reason, and, you're going to be all right. So like my mentor, Linda Clemens, said, take a minute to panic, have a pity party if you have to, but pray, pause, pivot to find your purpose. So I'm going to leave it with that.
Well, thank you so much. Once again, you're amazing. You're incredible. For every single one of you watching, I want you to know that today is your January 1st. You can get your finances in order. Today is your January 1st. You no longer have to struggle. You can create generational wealth. And today is your January 1st. Why? Because the best is still yet to come. The best is yet to come. I believe the best is yet to come. With that being said, my name, by the way, is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Remember, time is long. Life is short. Live in the moment and make it count. Peace. Thanks a lot. We love you. We'll see you guys later. Thanks a lot. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye. So much fun.
Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Thank you. God bless.